a member of ODM, but we'll come to Bwana Orero for that. But the narrative, definitely the president appears to be in full control of this narrative. Do you agree that ODM, at least when it comes to the coalition building, because it would appear yesterday was a platform for the coalition building, forget about 10-point agenda, that the president is in full control of this and is calling the shots?
Well, having been maybe at the center of the agreement between himself and the late Prime Minister, Raila Amolo Odinga, of course he must be the person who is leading. And as Honorable Gakuya said, he's also a founder member of ODM, so he has a right. And currently now as a party leader of UDA. And of course, being a current president and looking for a second term, he also needs a bigger team to work with. And I said, if I were in the same position, the person that would be, or the party I would be looking for to work closely with would be ODM, because it also has the largest, maybe influence also in Kenya, apart from now UDA, the number 2 was ODM. Whether the status remain the same, that's something else. So yesterday, when the president called in, maybe he really wanted to make things clear, because of course there have been a lot of talks. It's 1 year down the line. There were things that were agreed upon. Have they been done? And I think it was just clear yesterday that it's not just about ticking the boxes, this one done. There was the issue of like NADCO report. And NADCO report had many issues. And you know, interesting, even someone like the Kalonzo Musyoka was a co-chair with Kimani Ichung'wah. So there were things that were agreed with NADCO report. Are those things implemented? How far are they? What do we need to do? If the issue about inclusivity in public resources, you know, allocation in public resources, there might be even appointments. How far have we done with it? You know, we didn't go into the details of these are the number of people who have been appointed, or these are number. But this was just a general, a polite reminder of this is where our focus was on. The issue of IBC and the issue of the public, you know, trust in institutions like judiciary, and I think he went ahead to mention these are the issues. If you looked at the presentation of the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki, he focused on the scorecard of the government, so far what has been achieved. But when the president came in and the report, the Zani came in, she focused on now on the 10-point agenda. And the president just came in and said, yes, we may be doing this at the government, but part of what the government is doing is to implement what was agreed. And this is where we have gotten into. The issue about political stability, the issue of that we are no longer going to use confrontation, but we can use dialogue. In case there is any political dispute, how the National Assembly, the unity in the National Assembly, but basically Parliament. And I think the Deputy President also kept on referring to a lot of issues that have been passed through Parliament. And finally, there was an agreement that there is going to be a team or a committee that is going to be appointed, so that I think 4 members from ODM and 4 members from UDA, so that they can continue looking at the issues and the agendas that have been raised before. But in terms of the economy and the recovery of the economy, or even like something like youth empowerment, because that was one of the challenges that was raised, I think they also use the opportunity to say, yes, we have Nyota program that has come in. It may have been part of the government, but somehow, if this is what they were looking at, the Nyota program has come in, it is also assisting the youth. He talked about the technical institutes.
Isn't this more of the same that what he had promised way before even the MOU between the two parties came into being and the 10-point agenda was agreed on? Most of these, whatever the president was quoting, are things that he had already started doing.
You see, he had started doing. You see, ODM lives in Kenya. And UDA and all of us live in this country. If you look at the manifesto of ODM, or Azimio then, I was in Azimio, and look at the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza, they were very close, because we are all targeting the same country, same people. So you can't say because UDA or the president was doing this, then he's just continuing. What happened is that when the ODM came in, there were things that they said, these are priorities. It is true, we all wish we can be able to do all these many things, but we need to prioritize on specific items. It doesn't mean that those 10 agendas are the only things that need to be done for the people of this nation. There are many other things that need to be done. But they said, our emphasis, we can say there's an issue of unemployment, there's the issue of youth empowerment, then what do we do? And I think it took time to say, we had this number of technical training institutes, we have increased. Okay. You know, he talked about, if it's about the teachers that have been employed, about the education sector, all those, and I think also employment of the TVET, the tutors in the TVETs. because a lot of people said this was the first nation that we had more students in the universities rather than the technical institutions,
Okay.
which is supposed to be the other way. And said we are now starting to tilt the pyramid so that we have also the majority of the students being taken care of at the technical institutions. So what do I want to say is that we are in this nation. We don't have a nation that ODM focuses on and UDA or Jubilee or any other party. As leaders, we are all focusing on improvement of the lives of Kenyans.
And the president
as we
already
say,
doing it.
because there was an issue about has the economy improved or not. You know, when I drive around and we like saying everything is bad, the people, we cannot feel it, but you see buildings are coming up.
Okay.
You see somebody has bought a new car or somebody has bought a motorbike, somebody has a bicycle.
And
it depends on where you are looking at. So we can't generalize and say economy is very, very, very bad.
Yes.
And the figures we are being given is not the right figure.
The coalition, the issue now is about the coalition building and the president calling the question and unanimous response there. The feeling is that it's President William Ruto who's in charge of this. He's quoting the structures of the ODM